Welcome to Investingold.ca. I am Bonnie Hughes. Today we will be talking to JC St-Armour, CEO of Vanstar Mining. As you can see, he is at the core shack for the Nelligan Project. Nelligan is a joint venture with IAMGOLD, who owns 75%, and Vanstar owns 25%, with carried interest through to production and a 1% NSR on the claims. The project has a 3.2 million ounce inferred resource, and IAMGOLD is currently conducting a 9,500 meter drill program. Hello, JC, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Bonnie. Apologize for the noise in the background here. Sorry, truck coming by.
Oh, that's okay. Good to know that you're in a populated town.
Yes, well, it's fairly busy. We're in the middle of Chibougamau here, or just on the outskirts of it. There's actually a Tim Hortons literally right across the street from the core shack. There's a McDonald's just down the street. It's a sizable town. It's a mining town. They know this industry well.
All the amenities that you need for a core shack.
Everything is here for the core shack. And everything is here for an operation as well. There's power, there's infrastructure, there's an airport nearby, there's communications. Everything you need is here. So we're within 50 kilometers of the project here, and there's even a town even closer to the project as well. So I'll walk you into the core shack now, and we can go through that fairly quickly.
Okay, I understand that IAMGOLD has implemented COVID-safe practices at the core shack.
They have. IAMGOLD, everyone here is double vaccinated. We are all double vaccinated. Actually, I should introduce as well as Jill who's our consulting geologist, who's here with me, acting as our cameraman.
Hello, Jill.
So he knows the project very well as well. Everyone also gets tested regularly for COVID and follows social distancing protocols. So and wears masks as required. Within here, there's a lot of space, so everyone can work, fairly at a reasonable distance from each other. So, IAMGOLD is very strict on these measures. There's enough space in here. I don't necessarily need to wear it at this time. As you'll see when we go through, it's fairly well established.
Excellent. Well, this is very exciting. It's always great to see the core as it comes out of the ground.
Yes, that's true. And before I take you into the core shack, I just want to highlight on this map here, this is where Chibougamau is. And this map basically shows 14 mining projects that were in operation here historically. There's some modern mines here, as well as some mines going way back in the past. It basically highlights that there is, this town has basically everything that you need to put this project into production. Everything that we need here is available for us. And over here, we're going to highlight the drilling map. It shows clearly where the drilling is going on right now. This area right here is the resource area. Infill drilling has been completed in this area right now, about 4,000 meters. And over here to the west is where the western extension was defined in previous drilling, ending about here. And the first hole was completed here today. And then drilling will continue every 200 meters to the west to continue to define the deposit and try to extend it out as far as possible. And with 200 meter step outs here, we should see significant resource additions if we're successful. Over here, there's a very shallow lake. It's not much of a lake at all, but it prevents us from drilling in the summer, even with a barge, which would get caught up in mud and so on. So we're going to come back here in the winter to drill it. We know that this zone here is continuous all the way across, but the lake prevents us from drilling, which would make it look like there's a hole between those two areas. So we need to drill this winter, and then the resource will come out following that drilling program.
Okay, great. Well, let's take us in and show us some of the core.
Okay, that's great. Let's go on in here. This is the core shack itself. This is where all the core is taken from directly from the drill rig. It's taken to this room where it is prepared. It's logged. Over here we have one of the extension holes, the one that was just drilled. Over here we basically have all the core that's ready to be prepared and cut in preparation to go sent to assays. And then over here, this is where basically the logging occurs. The core is set here so that the geologist can basically log it.
So JC, explain to us some of the core that we see right here.
Yes, this is basically where the core comes directly from the drill rig. It's stored in this area, and it's set up in this area here where it's logged, and then it's prepared, and it basically sets off for assaying. Over here, We have basically another, this is the extension hole that was finished just today. This is, they've laid it out here for us so that we can see it. What we're seeing in this hole is basically mudstones. This mudstone is what was had intercepted some gold further to the east over here. So they're hopeful that this will run. Obviously, it's not assayed yet, so we'll need to wait and see what this produces. But this is the kind of rock that they've discovered. It contains gold and hopefully continues to contain it towards the west. Now we're going to go outside and I'm going to show you what 3 holes that were laid out for us that give us a good idea of what the deposit looks like in the main resource area.
So the core that's here as well is processed here. It's cut, it's sent to assay, and then when it's done, it actually gets it gets stored into these areas over here, and these get sent back to Rouen so that it's all stored at IAMGOLD's main storage area, so it's accessible to them from their main office, their main exploration office. Here we see the holes. And what we have here is 3 holes from the middle of the Nelligan deposit, and they're lined up so that they're basically so you can see exactly what you see in each hole. So, for example, this is a 36 zone, which is highly, it's basically a shear zone, which is highly fractured. And we can see that in all 3 holes over there. Each of these holes is about 50 meters apart. This is a zone that runs just under a gram, 0.8, 0.9 of a gram in that area. And then we get into the Renard zone, which again, we can see going all the way across. This is very highly silicified, which means it's very, in this case, it gives us very competent rock. It all looks kind of very similar throughout. We do get into little zones of there's slight little veining of sulfides in here, but this is mainly a silicified deposit. And on average, it runs around 1.2 grams. The main point with this project is it's very homogeneous throughout this entire zone. And here we've got, probably about 50 meters here of the Renard zone that runs on average 1.5 grams. The grade never gets very high. You might get little tiny intercepts of higher grades, but that's not representative of the whole deposit. The deposit is fairly homogeneous at say between 1 and 2 grams with an average around 1.2.
So they'd be looking at a type of an open pit type of deposit then.
Exactly. So this will be an open pit, and from an open pit perspective, being so homogeneous, it's very helpful. You basically take all the rock and send it to the plant or to be processed. As opposed to having to select waste and separate all that stuff. So from a mining perspective, it should be fairly simple.
And how much is IAMGOLD drilled so far, and what do they have left to do in this drill program?
So far, the infill is done. They've drilled about 4,000 meters. The first hole of the extension has been or is being drilled, and that's what we saw in there. There's probably another 5,000 meters to be done. Like I said, they're going to extend every 200 meters. If they don't see anything interesting after a little while, they may stop that and come back into infill some of the western extension or other parts of the deposit. So, but generally 5,000 meters additional drilling is planned, and we'll get through all of this. I think over the next month and a half. The drilling is going fairly well. It's going fairly quickly, and we're anxious to see some assay results here. What we should see is assays coming out in a couple of batches. One for the infill drilling, which will be in the next, depending on how quickly we get assays back. Hopefully in September, maybe in October, and then a couple months later for the infill drilling.
And so, are you heading to the drill site after this?
That's right. Yeah. So after this visit at the core shack here, we're heading to the drill site. So I'll take some photos over there, and we can, I'll give you guys a good example of what it looks like over there.
That's very exciting. Now you have 4 other projects, and so I understand that you're doing some work on Felix. What's going on with Felix right now?
Yeah. So Felix, we're actually about to start drilling it. So we have a drill outline. We have our permits lined up. So everything's in place. So we should start drilling there on Monday. Fingers crossed, as long as everything's set properly over the weekend, the drill will be turning on Monday.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say we have our Frida and Eva projects, which are much earlier stage. We are sending a ground crew over there probably in September to do some reconnaissance sampling there as well. So a lot going on here this fall. It's going to be quite a bit of news coming out from all of these projects around the same time.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us at JC. It's always very exciting to go to the core shack, and we look forward to speaking with you again.
All right. Thank you very much, Bonnie.
The town of Chibougamau is located about 700 kilometers north of the city of Montreal. It's a town with a rich mining history, with everything in place to put a project into operation. Companies such as SNC-Lavalin, SOCAM, and Quebec's James Bay Development Society are all located in the town. It's large enough to sustain chain restaurants and obviously a trained workforce. It has an airport, it has railroads, it has everything that we need to put a project into operation. The road we took to the site was a well-maintained forestry road, which is capable of carrying heavy equipment, as you can see here. Along the way, we saw a number of power lines, actually 3 high-voltage power lines cross the road as we drove to the project. There is also a transformer station in the nearby area. And the last power line actually followed the road, and this particular photo right here was located directly on the Nelligan project as well, so power right to the site. The project is located in a forested area with very little to no outcrop. The outcrop that we did manage to see was the result of stripping for channel sampling purposes. The project was initially discovered with geophysics, and despite the lack of outcrop, 3.2 million ounces were defined over the following years. Drilling is ongoing on site, and while we were there, the drill had just finished the first hole of the extension drilling, and there's about 5,000 meters left in this current drill program.